Hello there, this is Moira Hutchison, mindset cultivator, energy healer, and owner of Wellness with Moira. I'm thrilled to bring you my new series on managing your mindset. You will learn perspectives, ideas, tips and techniques which are all intended to inspire and show you how you can reach your full potential. What would you say your life purpose is? Do you feel aligned with what your sense of meaning, purpose? Do you feel like you live in alignment with your purpose? Would you say that you live a purpose-driven life? In my conversation today with you, I want to sort of break this idea apart. What is life purpose? Are you looking for it? Do you feel aligned with it? Have you accessed that part? You know, all too often in my conversations with clients and students over the years, there's a number of misunderstandings about what purpose is and is not. So I wonder, what does it mean when somebody says, what is the purpose of your life? Or what is your life purpose? What's your meaning? What's your mission? Do you immediately say, yes, I know what it is? Or do you think that it's something that gets handed to you? Do you feel that it's tied to a profession or a job? Or a career or a business? All of these pieces are components of what is your purpose, our purpose. But here's the key piece. In essence, there's a couple of themes that link all of our purpose, all of our purposes. So one of the things that I find is a constant is your purpose in this life is to figure out all of your patterns, all of your peccadillos, propensities, likes, dislikes, preferences, not preferences, all of those things. So it's almost like you watching you in relationship to other people, events, situations, locations, things that are happening in the world, things that are happening on a global level, on a social level, and on a personal level. We all have our own patterns. So I believe that an essence of all of our life purposes is to get clear on what are they? What are your mindsets? What's your beliefs? What's your likes and dislikes? And then lovingly accept all of them. Can you do that? Can you love and accept everything about you? Maybe that's a big step for some people, because some people feel that if they were living a purpose-driven life, they feel that it's something that's bigger than them, something that's outside of where they're sitting at the moment, and they'll get there when they get the right relationship, or they learn a skill set, or they are aligning with a specific type of calling, profession, job, career. But those things are all don't serve you, because the key piece is, like I said, what is your patterns? Where do you feel the joy? Because that's the key piece. So if you let go of this idea of, I have to find my life purpose, I have to figure it out, and there's something wrong with me if I don't align it, or I don't name it, or I don't find it. The truth is, you are, every one of us, as spiritual beings, we're living our purpose. So the question is ask yourself things like, what makes my heart sing? Where do I find joy? What kind of things make me happy? Where do I feel like I am contributing, or I am of service, or I am being beneficial to others around me or to myself? You see, all of those kinds of questions will lead you to actually realizing that you're there always. You know, an example I love to give is that, let's say, for argument's sake, that a person's purpose or calling was to make people happy. Then back to this idea of life purpose being caught up with the work that person did. If their real calling was to make people happy, it actually doesn't matter what they do, because the cashier at a bank with a smile can make somebody's day. In fact, the greeter at Walmart could be serving that kind of purpose. So can the CEO of a high-end corporation. So you see, what I'm trying to say is that when we really find our calling, it's always very simple, and it's always very much love-based, joy-based. So that's why I'm saying, what kind of things do you love to do? Do you love to sing? Do you love to make people laugh? Do you love to help people out when they're struggling? Do you love to teach people? Do you love to read to people? Do you love to write? Do you love to be outside in nature? Do you love to bake? Do you love to cook? So maybe that's part of this. If you're feeling lost and thinking, you know, you're just taking all these steps waiting for this idea of purpose to land for you, maybe you could get busy making some of those lists. The thinking of, what would I do all day long, whether I was paid for it or not? And see what comes, see what pops up for you. Because here's the other big piece about living that purpose-driven life is it's already there. This idea of living on purpose or in alignment with what our calling is, what's our gift, what's our unique piece, it's already there. And you, by taking a pause, maybe you just need to just take a pause and look at where you have the control is in your own little bubble, your own zone of authority. And your zone of authority that I'm talking about is the bubble that you live in, right? So that is everything that you can see, touch, feel, hear, listen to, etc. That is where you can get the access to that wisdom that's within you. Unfortunately, in this looking for an answer outside of ourselves has led a number of people off the track. You know, it's like if you don't allow that inner voice, that quiet, still, wise part of you to be the director or the authority or the definer of what makes you light up, what makes you feel that sense of joy, that sense of, yes, I'm on track. There is a certain sense of a yes when we really access what that purpose is. And then we can actually use that as a kind of the engine to help us navigate, make choices, align ourselves with certain scenarios, environments, opportunities. But until you get that nugget, that little essence of my calling is to help people, and then you have to fill in the blank. So my purpose, seeing as we're talking about what is that calling, my purpose is to help people acknowledge, recognize that their life is their responsibility. And it's from a spiritual point of view. We are all guiding the entire experience of our own lives. My purpose is to help people open up to that, to open up and to really listen. And I say listen with quotes because listening doesn't necessarily mean you sitting listening to me right now. When I talk about this kind of listening, it's really going within you. And having trust and expectation, awareness that everything that you do, everything that you have done up until this point has being guided by what is your calling. And so once you acknowledge that, then, and with awareness, then you can recognize, oh, that's how come I feel good when I am in this environment, or when I'm, reacting with this type of people, or doing those kind of creative things, or not doing them. Because here's the other part of this. It's when we become clear on what it is, what is our mission, what's our unique gift, what is our quirkiness, what's our wee spark of the divine, what is it that you do that other people say, oh gosh, you make it look so easy, or I could never do it that way. That's your gift too, because this is the other part of being on purpose, being aligned and aware of your purpose, is to be aware of what is your unique gift. Because in essence, that is the other part that we are all called upon to show up in this game of life. And yes, I do feel that we're playing a game of life. It's supposed to be happy. It's supposed to feel joy-filled and love-based. When it's not, all we're doing is experiencing the other end of the polar spectrum. And when I'm talking about that, it's like, in order to know when it's dark, you must know light, and vice versa. You only know what heat is because you know what cold is. You only know what it feels like to be wet or soaking wet because you know what it feels like to be dry. And so if you think about that idea of happiness and not happiness, when you find yourself stuck and maybe not happy, it doesn't mean that happiness isn't there. It's just that you're on that end of the spectrum. So once you recognize where you are on any spectrum, everything happens in spectrums, and there is polar opposites, and we move on these spectrums. So if you think about that, if you have this purpose, so I just shared with you that my purpose is to teach responsibility, to teach authorship. I like to call it as claiming authorship for your own life experience. So that's my calling. That's my mission. And when I look at all of the times in my life when I've been doing that, when I'm aligned with it, when I'm teaching people and empowering people and helping people access that aspect of themselves, then I feel really alive. I feel happy and joyful, and that I am bringing my gifts and playing my part in this game of life. There have been times where I haven't, where I have gone to the other end. Remember, I have to be able to go to the other end of that spectrum in order to know what the right one is. Well, I say right. I don't like to say right and wrong because they are just opposite ends of a spectrum. So I can go to the lack of authorship, and that is giving the control over to somebody else. And if you've watched any of my other episodes, you may have heard that I was in a cult when I was a young adult. That was the epitome of completely giving authorship and responsibility to something outside of me. And so then I felt like I was playing so small. I didn't know what happiness, I didn't even know what made me happy, let alone how to feel that. And my posture was rounded shoulders, my head was down. I even developed a bit of a hunchback because I was always pulling down into myself. Well, now in hindsight, I can look back and recognize it's because I was experiencing the complete lack of alignment with what my calling is. But like I said, and I believe that we all need to do that in order to get clear on what is our calling and how does it feel to be there. So if you have been questioning and feeling out of sorts, or wondering, why do other people seem to feel so at ease and comfortable with saying, this is my calling, this is my life purpose, and whereas others seem to be struggling, and they go from one bad relationship to the next, or they experience some form of abuse, or they have money problems, or they never seem to get the right job or position or career. Maybe all it is that somebody hasn't tapped them on the shoulder and said, take a deep breath. What do you love? What brings you joy? What brings you happiness? Where is the joy and happiness for you in this? Because it is there when we bring our awareness back into what we can control. We always have power and control when we bring our awareness back into what's right in front of you. What are people saying to you? What are you saying to them? What environment are you sitting in right now? That's the pieces that you do have control over. So similar to what I was just saying about we have to know one in order to know the other. So let's say you're sitting in your environment and it's freezing cold. Well, you're going to get up and go and put the heater on, right? Turn the thermostat. Likewise, if it's too hot, you're still going to turn the thermostat. So one way you're going to get the furnace going, and the other way it's going to get the AC going, so that you can feel comfort. But all too often when we're stuck in this idea of, oh, I don't have a purpose, that's other people have that, and I'm just stuck in this reality without any power, then it's time to stand up and get out of your seat and do something, and not listen to that inner chatter. Because that's one final point that I want to share as we kind of look at different ways of setting the intention to align with and recognize that it's there. You just need to keep asking yourself the question, the value-based questions that says, what lights me up? What makes me feel happy, like I am engaging with my calling, with my tools? And then sometimes we just need to pause, take some deep breaths. This is one of the big things when I have a decision to make, or I need to reset my energy, is to just take a deep breath and then ask a question and take one action step. So, because the thing is that answer to what is the purpose of my life, or how can I be more aligned with my true calling, with my essence, then you let it go and you trust that you've just sort of put out the directive to your higher self. Show me. I'm open, I'm ready, and I'm going to take that step. Because if you get stuck sitting, waiting for the answer to just kind of land on your lap, it's never going to do so. One of my mentors used to say this, is that if you sit in your home and sit on your couch and wait for an answer, and you keep saying, where's my purpose? What's my calling? What's my unique gifts? What am I here to do in this life? And let's say you just sit there and keep putting that out to the universe, saying, well, my higher self's got the answers. Yes, it does. You are not going to arrive at the answers or open to the answers unless you get up out of your couch and go and open the door. So it's like by taking one action step and opening the door to receiving those answers. And I've said this before, and I've probably said this on other episodes, is that all of the answers that we're looking for are actually looking for us too. So sometimes what we need to do is ask the question, recognize that it's here, but your job then is to pose the question and then do something that acknowledges it's here, I just can't quite see it yet. And then go do the next step and go do the next step. Always following what makes my heart sing. What makes my heart sing is one of the best ways I know to really inspire you to feel like you're living a purpose-driven life. So all this to say, remember, the purpose of your life is to experience joy, happiness, a sense of meaning, a sense of sharing your beautiful, brilliant, unique gifts. Because that is your responsibility to the collective. And we can all do this because we are all going home together. I hope this makes sense. I have a resource in the comments below, in the description, and I'd love for you to check out. It's to help you peel off those limitations and pieces that may be holding you back from just really being in alignment with your true calling. Thank you for watching.